Imagine robbing Peter to pay Paul, but Paul is the federal judge deciding your freedom, and Peter is the municipal government. This is the mind-bending reality at the heart of a massive federal fraud case out of Utah. Allegedly. Before we get into the details, a critical reminder, the charges we're breaking down today are strictly allegations detailed in an indictment. The trial is scheduled for next year. October 31st, 2023, an electronic transaction quietly clears the accounting ledger of the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. $2,000 restitution payment sent by convicted fraudster named Joseph Mori. To the automated systems tracking court compliance, it looked like a clear sign of personal reform. A con man out of prison paying back his debts. Mori's original conviction dated back to 2020 when he ran a predatory commercial loan brokerage. He would weaponize upfront fees against small business owners, pocketing over $350,000 in stolen capital. After serving a year and 1 day in federal prison on wire fraud charges, he was released on a tight 3-year term of court-supervised release. And this monthly restitution payment was supposed to prove he was playing by the rules. You'd think a guy sitting on a massive restitution bill would keep his head down, work a quiet job, punch the clock. But the feds had absolutely no idea where that restitution money had actually come from, because just 5 days prior, prosecutors allege an international cyber fraud syndicate had hijacked a $779,000 municipal settlement out of Utah, result of a pool accident.
Quiet on the deck, nothing happened. Whoa! What was that?
And the proceeds of that heist landed directly into a shell company bank account controlled by Joseph Mori, who's allegedly using fresh wire fraud loot to fund his court-ordered wire fraud restitution from the last time.
I've seen guys steal to pay off the mafia. I've seen guys steal to buy flan. But hijacking a government wire transfer to pay off the court that caught you the first time, that takes I don't know if that's audacity or just a lack of survival instinct.
To understand how a man on federal probation became the epicenter of such a money laundering pipeline, we need to take a look across the country to Utah. In October 2023, the Utah Risk Management Agency was completing a massive legal settlement. The agency's finance staff was communicating through email with the plaintiff's legitimate legal counsel, a prominent firm operating at tagteamlaw.com. But hidden in the communication stream in the email chain was the weapon of choice of many modern digital crime syndicates. Business email compromise, BEC. A typical BEC attack is a form of social engineering where attackers gain access to an email account, usually through phishing, usually through an adversary in the middle kit or device code phishing kit. We've covered both of those on the channel. They read those email chains, wait for some talk about transactions, good-looking transactions to hijack, some leads for fraud. They sit there in that account for weeks, monitoring the discussions. In this case, conspirators registered a clone domain, tagteamslaws.com, adding a couple S's. To a busy clerk handling dozens of settlement files, they didn't notice. That's a very common attack. Adding an S, making a word plural in a domain name for business email compromise. The fraudsters intercepted the active mail chain on that settlement, impersonated the lead attorney, and delivered updated wire routing instructions. Oh, we have a new bank account. Here's the new wire routing instructions. Here's the new number you need to send the settlement funds to. Again, very typical, standard business email compromise attack. People often hear business email compromise and think it's the Nigerian prince email.
To fix it, I need your credit card or Bitcoin payments.
It's not. It's a high precision sniping.
There we go, all set.
This is why we tell listeners to go back and watch our previous episodes on device code phishing and adversary in the middle proxy phishing.
Whether it's intercepting a session token with a proxy or spoofing a domain to hijack a settlement, the goal is the same: to become the man in the middle.
And if you aren't using out-of-band verification for unexpected last-minute account changes, you're just handing them the keys to the treasury sooner or later. Believing they were just closing out the legal case, the municipal team initiated the wire transfer. On October 26, 2023, $750,000 left Utah. bypassed the real victims of the pool accident completely and hid an account at Thread Bank, held under an entity called Global Office Group Incorporated. When federal agents pulled the incorporation data for that business, they didn't find a high-tech financial hub. They didn't even find a fake identity. This guy used his real house address in New York, his home, to register the shell company for the fraud. Within 48 hours of that wire hitting his bank account, the stolen capital began moving. It wasn't being split up to different syndicates, going to Hong Kong. No, the records show he made Cash App transfers. He paid off his T-Mobile bill, paid off his auto insurance. He went shopping at the Home Depot with the money and made that direct debit to the Southern District of New York clerk office to pay that month's restitution. Not the hardest transaction to track, right? And when the FBI eventually confronted him, Mori gave them the classic money mule script. Oh, he doesn't know anything. He was just an innocent escrow broker waiting for a coin transaction that fell through, a cryptocurrency transaction.
The feds asked him, "You got a customer information sheet?" It was someone that I knew. It wasn't someone I didn't know. It was somebody I knew. When you say somebody you know, who was it? I don't remember.
The dog ate my homework excuse of federal finance crimes.
But while the agents were looking at his bank statements, they realized the Utah wire was just the tip of the iceberg.
Brace for impact!
Operating under the names Crypto Calypso Limited and Exceedingly Consulting Incorporated, Mori had completely rebranded himself as an elite digital asset mastermind. He targeted private investors across the internet, promising returns that defied reality. Sometimes a guaranteed 600% return on investment within 90 days. To bring in big ticket capital, he began hosting virtual investor town halls on YouTube. During these broadcasts, Mori explained that his incredible profits were generated by acting as a high-volume intermediary for crypto whales. He claimed that institutional buyers wanted to execute multi-million-dollar block trades secretly without shifting public spot market prices. Mori told his victims that he charged an effortless 1 to 10% commission on every trade, holding up the physical black Trezor hardware wallet to his webcam to prove he held custody of their funds.
Here's a free tip for aspiring criminal masterminds. If you had to fake $1 billion investment empire, do not build your lie on a decentralized public ledger. In traditional banking, you need to hide behind shell companies, behind other countries, behind fake identities, stolen identities even, but on the blockchain, every single fraction of a cent leaves an unerasable, immutable digital fingerprint.
And the IRS criminal investigation guys, they live for this stuff. Special Agent Jonathan Helmstetter secured federal subpoenas for Mori's online profiles and mapped the exact public keys for that black Trezor wallet Mori kept flailing around in the air. They executed an audit of every asset moving through his custody. The results were embarrassing, if not devastating. While Mori's investment dashboards told victims their accounts were trading nearly $1 billion in volume, the real-world blockchain revealed that during the entirety of the year, his wallet had processed only $73,000. The whole thing with the hardware wallet and all of that was a classic textbook cover for a Ponzi scheme wrapped in Web3 word salad vocab buzzwords. Mori was simply taking capital from fresh investors, washing it through his traditional banking system accounts under his shell company names, and using it to pay off older investors demanding withdrawals. If you looked up Joseph Mori online during the height of his crypto Ponzi empire, you wouldn't just see an average financial consultant. You see Dr. Joseph Mori. He plastered it everywhere. His LinkedIn proudly displays his doctorate from Western Advanced Central University. Well, it sounds prestigious. It sounds safe, like the kind of guy you want managing your life savings, right? Except Western Advanced Central University doesn't exist. It doesn't have a campus. It doesn't have professors or classes. It's a ghost. It was one of hundreds of fake websites spun up by Axact, a massive Pakistani organization notorious for running the world's largest diploma mill. But to process all that illicit tuition from around the globe, Exseedingly operated a highly sophisticated international money laundering syndicate, and their web of shell companies and routed bank accounts was so massive it eventually brought the hammer down on their executives in Pakistan, leading to their arrest of their CEO for massive fraud and money laundering. Does that sound familiar? One might expect that a doctorate from a money laundering organization would make you good at money laundering and not get caught. Of course, the organization that issued the doctorate also got caught money laundering, so maybe it's not even ironic, it's what you'd expect. To lock down the case, an undercover IRS agent wired $2,000 to Mori's account, and forensic traffic watched that exact cash get carved up to pay previous victims, previous investors in the scheme. No blockchain, Web3, whatever, just into one account, out to another. On June 11th, 2025, 6 o'clock in the morning, the feds closed the net, raided Mori's residence, seizing his computers, his mobile phone, and that black treasure wallet out of his pocket. He was placed in handcuffs and charged with money laundering conspiracy. Mori's defense team fought back immediately. They argued the magistrate judge that Mori was a legitimate engineer who ran an essential regional trucking business. And that locking him up would ruin the livelihoods of his innocent truckers.
The trucking company was a shell company to open merchant accounts and process victim credit cards. But hey, at least he knows a trick to save money on insurance costs.
The judge relented, granting him pre-trial release under strict financial restrictions. He was forbidden from touching his corporate accounts. So what does he do?
He goes straight to the restricted accounts.
He goes straight into those restricted accounts. I mean, this is a known fraudster caught running another scheme, using the proceeds of that scheme to pay off restitution for the last scheme, and then using that scheme to launch a Ponzi scheme released on federal bond, used the exact accounts he was barred from touching. He thought by shifting corporate names and moving across alternative banking networks, he could outrun the feds. Some guys like this think they're slick, but the blockchain, every hash is written in stone. You aren't outsmarting the system, you're just meticulously building the case against your own self that they're going to use to bury you.
Behind the surface, follow the chain from initial access to lasting pain. With detective lock, the signal's clear. Breaking it down logically here. Process injection, deep in scripts. Tool marks and cover, operator slips, same playbooks, different games.